So imagine you're standing in like a massive, sprawling digital casino.
Okay, I'm picturing.
Right. And on one side of the room, you have the traditional stock market crowd. They're wearing these perfectly tailored suits, carefully analyzing quarterly earnings, reading very sensible letters to shareholders.
Very quiet, very orderly.
Exactly. It's predictable. But then you look over the other side of the room, and there is just an absolute riot going on.
Wait, total chaos.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
A massive, screaming crowd is jumping up and down, throwing literally millions of real dollars at a pixelated picture of a raccoon digging through a dumpster. And while today, we are walking over to the dumpster.
Which is honestly where the most fascinating financial experiments are happening right now. I mean, it looks like pure chaos, but there is a really profound logic underneath it all.
Right.
We're watching internet culture literally materialize into economic value in real time. It's wild.
It's totally wild. And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We've got this really interesting dispatch from a platform called normiecrypto.com, and we're going to decode the absolute madness of what they're calling the Jimothy 2.0 phenomenon.
Yes, the Jimothy Wars.
Yeah, the Jimothy Wars. We're going to explore this bizarre rise of the raccoon narrative in the crypto space and really break down the incredibly specific trading strategies that everyday people are using to navigate these lightning-fast markets.
It is a wild ride, and, to fully grasp it, we have to kind of reevaluate how we even think about money and attention and community.
Right, because the rules are totally different here.
Completely different. In this modern digital economy, attention has literally become a currency. I mean, meme coins are basically the first technology to put a direct, liquid price tag on a viral joke.
That is such a fascinating way to frame it. Pricing a joke. Now, before we get into the weeds here, I do need to put a giant flashing neon disclaimer right at the front door.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely necessary. The stated goal of Normie Crypto, and really our goal for this deep dive too, is purely educational. We are here to translate these complex, headache-inducing blockchain concepts into plain English for you.
No jargon allowed.
Right, zero jargon if we can help it. So, to be absolutely clear, nothing we are discussing today is financial, investment, or legal advice. We are simply exploring the mechanics of how this ecosystem works.
Exactly. I like to think of us as tour guides explaining how the architecture of the casino was built. We're analyzing the blueprint. We are definitely not telling you to put your chips on the table.
Never.
Always. Always do your own research.
Perfectly said. So, to understand this whole raccoon madness, we actually have to start with the environment it lives in, which brings us to normiecrypto.com. Because the crypto space, generally speaking, is incredibly hostile to newcomers.
Oh, it's brutal.
It's just a wall of acronyms, confusing charts, inside jokes that make you feel like, you're perpetually late to the party.
Right. And that hostility is the barrier to entry for what the community affectionately calls normies.
Normies, yeah.
If you aren't deeply entrenched in Web3 development, or, if you aren't day trading 12 hours a day staring at 5 monitors, you are a normie.
Which is most of us.
Yeah.
And when we say Web3, by the way, we're just talking about the next iteration of the internet, one that's built on decentralized blockchains rather than centralized corporate servers.
Right, but for the average person, jumping into Web3 feels like trying to read the Matrix. It just looks like green code falling down a screen.
Exactly. And the ethos of Normie Crypto is to build the world's largest network for everyday people in meme-linked crypto. They want to make that on-ramp like a lot less intimidating.
And what I found so brilliant about their approach is how they actually go about lowering that barrier. They don't just throw a textbook glossary at you and say, good luck.
No, they don't.
They physically ground the experience. When you go to their site, you aren't just staring at abstract decentralized exchange charts.
Right. I mean, you go to the site and it's like, hey, grab a bag of Normie coffee right on the site.
Exactly, which, psychologically speaking, is a massive bridge for a new user.
It totally is. I was looking through their shop, and they have this broken top coffee blend. It's a medium roast, $26.10.
Yeah.
And honestly, given how fast this ecosystem moves, I feel like you need a constant IV drip of that $26 medium roast just to keep your brain caffeinated enough to track the Solana network.
Oh, without a doubt. And let's actually define Solana really quickly, because that is the engine for all of this.
Good call.
If you think of Bitcoin as this massive, highly secure, but somewhat slow bank vault, Solana is like a high-speed, frictionless trading floor.
Just lightning fast.
Right. It processes thousands of transactions a second with fractions of a penny in fees. And that speed is what allows these rapid-fire cultural trends to become tradable assets almost instantly.
Which is why the anxiety around trading them is just off the charts. But Normie Crypto seems to anticipate that anxiety, which I love. Alongside the coffee, they sell a color-morphing mug for $17.78 that says, "Never panic, always HODL."
A classic phrase in the space.
Yeah, and for anyone new to the space, HODL is just an old crypto acronym that stands for Hold On for Dear Life.
From a typo in an old forum, actually.
Right, and they've even got an always HODL tank top running between like 43 and 50 bucks. So my question for you is, why sell physical mugs and tank tops on a site dedicated to digital, completely invisible internet money?
It's all because of the cognitive load required to interact with this stuff.
The cognitive load.
Yeah, when you're dealing with something as abstract as a token on the Solana network, it feels fake to a lot of people. It feels like monopoly money just floating in the ether.
I mean, it kind of is.
Right, but by offering a medium roast coffee blend or a tangible mug, you create a physical totem for a digital tribe.
Oh, that's interesting. So you can literally hold that mug in your hand while you're staring at this chaotic, stressful chart, and it signals to your brain like, hey, this isn't just invisible code. This is a real culture, and I am safely participating in it.
Precisely. It grounds the extreme anxiety of a highly volatile market into the familiar, comforting routine of drinking your morning coffee. It literally makes the invisible visible.
Okay, so we've got our coffee, we are fueled up, we've got our A2DL tank tops on.
Ready to go.
Now we can look at the main event unfolding on this platform. The source details what is essentially a civil war between two meme coins.
The Jimothy Civil War.
Right. We have the original Jimothy, which is the main token, and we have the challenger, Jimothy 2.0, which is headquartered over at jimothy2.com. And centered around all of this is Jimothy the raccoon.
Yes, this is a classic dual runner dynamic. But before we get into the mechanics of the war itself, we have to look at the mascot, because mascots in crypto are never just an accident.
Never.
They are highly tuned cultural indicators.
Right. I mean, for years, the Doge meme, the Shiba Inu dog, was the undisputed king of crypto memes. And that was a very golden retriever energy. Goofy, innocent, optimistic. So why on earth has the market suddenly crowned a dumpster diving raccoon as its ultimate mascot?
Because the mood of the market has evolved. The golden retriever optimism just doesn't fit the current landscape anymore.
Interesting.
Think about the defining traits of a raccoon. What do? They operate in the dark. They are completely unapologetic.
Little bandits.
Exactly. They are chaotic, but they are incredibly resourceful. I mean, they will figure out complex mechanical latches just to crack open a trash can and get what they want. They perfectly embody the internet's trash-to-treasure ethos.
So it's not just a cute logo. It's like a direct rebellion against the polished corporate side of the financial world. They aren't trying to pretend they are Wall Street guys. They're actively identifying as the raccoon in the alleyway behind Wall Street, just scurrying away with absolute gold before anyone realizes what happened.
That is exactly it. Traders in this high-risk ecosystem relate to the raccoon's hustle much more than the dog's innocence right now.
But here is where the friction starts, right? We have this perfect cultural mascot, but its economic energy is split between two different smart contracts. We have the original, and we have 2.0. And I want to pause here for a second because the word contract makes it sound like lawyers and signatures.
Yeah, that's a good catch. In Web3, a smart contract isn't a legal document at all.
Right.
Think of it like a digital vending machine on the blockchain. It holds the tokens, and when you put money in, it automatically dispenses the token without any middleman or human oversight.
So no one is stamping a piece of paper.
No, it's just code. So the original Jimothy has one vending machine, and Jimothy 2.0 has a completely separate vending machine.
Okay, that makes total sense. So looking at these two vending machines, how does a trader decide where to put their money? Is this like a Hollywood movie franchise where Jimothy 2.0 is, the flashy reboot trying to steal the original's thunder? Or is it more symbiotic than that? Can both succeed?
It can actually be either, which is what makes this so incredibly complex.
Right.
Remember, a meme coin isn't a company with a physical product or quarterly revenue.
Right.
The product is human attention. So when a sequel launches, it forces the market to make a collective decision about where that attention will pool. And the dispatch from Normie Crypto outlines two very specific scenarios for how this plays out mathematically.
Okay, let's walk through those. What is the first scenario?
The first scenario is called the co-run. This is the bullish, rising tide lifts all boats scenario. In this case, the original Jimothy acts as the blue chip vehicle.
Like the blockbuster original movie.
Exactly. Let's say it pushes toward a $1 billion market cap.
And market cap just meaning the total value of all the existing coins combined. Which, by the way, $1 billion for a raccoon meme is staggering.
It is staggering, but it happens. Now, in this co-run scenario, as money pours into that main runner, it creates this psychological overflow effect.
Wait, why does the money spill over? I mean, why don't traders just keep putting their money into the original if it's doing so incredibly well?
It comes down to human psychology and the perception of value. When a coin hits a massive valuation like $1 billion, the price per single coin goes way up.
Right.
So to a new buyer arriving late to the party, it feels too expensive. Even though they could just buy a fraction of a coin, human beings prefer to own whole large numbers of things. They want to buy 1,000 coins for $1, not one coin for $1.
Okay, so they feel like they missed the bottom on the original and they start looking for the cheaper sequel.
Exactly. They look for the next best thing with the same branding, which is Jimothy 2.0. This is called a beta play in the space.
A beta play.
Yeah. Think of a beta play like buying stock in the minor league team when the major league team gets too expensive to invest in. The source actually explains that just a 10% liquidity spillover, just a tiny fraction of the original's massive trading volumes spilling into the smaller pool of 2.0, is enough to send Jimothy 2.0 straight to a $100 million valuation.
Wow, so the original blockbuster essentially just drags the sequel up with it.
Yep.
Early 2.0 holders lock in these massive multiplier gains because they put smaller capital into a much smaller pool, causing the price to skyrocket. That makes perfect sense. But what happens if the rising tide doesn't lift both boats? Like, what is the second scenario?
Scenario 2 is what they call the flip. And we have seen this happen historically in crypto quite a bit. This is where the derivative, the sequel, captures the community momentum, completely refreshes the marketing, and just dethrones the original.
So the flashy reboot completely kills the original franchise.
Right.
How does that actually happen, though?
It usually happens through something called liquidity exhaustion.
Okay, and liquidity just means the available cash flowing in and out of the asset, right?
Correct. If the main token stalls out, meaning there just aren't any new buyers stepping in to replace the people taking their profits, the chart just flatlines.
It's boring.
It gets very boring. And when that happens, Jimothy 2.0, which is backed by this dedicated hub at jimothy2.com, steps in with fresh energy. It absorbs all that restless trading volume from people looking for the next big move. It literally breaks past the main token's market cap and takes the crown.
Okay, so as a trader, you're standing there staring at these two distinct vending machines, knowing either one could make you rich or either one could completely stall out.
Yeah.
To handle this anxiety, the source outlines a specific strategy called the dual holding playbook.
Yes, the dual holding strategy.
Right, and they explicitly reference this historic war involving a dog token called Nairo, where this exact dynamic played out across both the Solana and Ethereum networks. The playbook says you should simply buy and hold both the main and the 2.0 contract.
That is correct.
But I mean, I'm going to push back here on behalf of anyone listening who is scratching their head right now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, dual holding sounds like a very fancy, jargony way of saying, I have absolutely no idea which one of these is going to win, so I'll just buy both out of pure ignorance and pray one of them hits.
It sounds like a hedge.
Right. So is there actually a structural advantage here, or is it just defensive guessing?
It's a really excellent question, but it's absolutely a structural advantage. It's not about ignorance at all. It's about acknowledging the reality of a market that is driven purely by attention.
Okay.
In a traditional market, you can read the quarterly earnings report to figure out if Apple or Microsoft is the better buy, right?
Sure.
But in a meme economy, the fundamentals are the crowd's momentum, and crowds are incredibly fickle.
You can't outsmart a mob that can change its mind in 5 minutes.
Exactly. You just can't. Dual holding is like betting on a horse race where you don't know if the jockey or the horse is going to cross the finish line first, but you own a 50% stake in the stable they both came from.
Oh, I see.
You win either way. The source points to that Nero War as the perfect example of this. During that event, multiple tokens launched with the exact same theme. It was mass confusion.
Just chaos.
Pure chaos. And traders who tried to act like purists and pick just one true token, well, they either got completely left behind when the other one pumped, or they got caught in a rotation where their liquidity just drained out overnight.
Because eventually, in that historical example, both of those tokens actually pulled off massive multi-million-dollar runs, didn't they?
They did. So by holding both the main Jimothy and Jimothy 2.0, the source notes you achieve 3 very distinct benefits. First, zero FOMO.
Fear of missing out. The ultimate psychological relief in a space that runs entirely on anxiety?
Precisely. If the main coin pushes to 1 billion, you are positioned. You don't have to panic by the top.
Right.
Second benefit, flip protection.
Okay, explain that one.
If 2.0 suddenly becomes the primary runner and dethrones the original through that liquidity exhaustion we talked about, your portfolio isn't left holding a stagnant asset. You are already sitting in the lifeboat that just magically transformed into a speedboat.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
You aren't playing defense. You are ensuring you have an offensive position no matter which way the crowd runs.
Exactly.
And the third benefit,
double exposure to standard cycles. There are platforms like Pump.fun, which are basically these automated launch pads for meme tokens, and they create these constant chaotic cycles of new coins.
right, it's nonstop.
So by holding both Jimothys, you capture the overarching value regardless of which specific contract the market decides to funnel money into on any given day. You aren't guessing the winner, you're investing in the broader narrative itself.
You are betting on the raccoon.
You're betting on the raccoon.
Okay, but a trading strategy like dual holding only works if the community actually stays alive to drive that momentum. And as we've seen time and time again, meme communities constantly face existential threats, not just from the financial market, but from the actual social platforms where they hang out.
This is a huge issue.
Where do these raccoons live without getting exterminated?
This is a crucial point, and it brings us to the actual infrastructure of memes. The source highlights the massive bottleneck that these communities face when they try to build on traditional Web 2 platforms.
Web 2 being your standard giants,
Yeah.
X, Instagram, TikTok.
Right. Mainstream social media has made it incredibly difficult for crypto projects to build any organic momentum.
Why is that?
Well, the algorithms on those platforms are just highly restrictive. You face algorithmic shadow bans where your posts just magically stop reaching your own followers without any notifications.
That's frustrating.
And there are incredibly harsh ad restrictions on anything even remotely related to crypto. Plus, you have sudden, unexplained account suspensions that can completely kill a project's momentum literally overnight.
It's like trying to host a massive energetic party, but the landlord hates you, so they keep arbitrarily turning off the electricity and changing the locks on the doors while your guests are still inside.
That is exactly what it feels like for these communities. So the Web3 solution to this, which the source points us to, is a platform called memelinked.com.
Meme linked.
Yeah, it's built as an uncensored, decentralized social ecosystem specifically for what they call degens.
Degens, right? Which is an affectionate term for highly engaged, risk-taking crypto traders.
Exactly. Degens, creators, and community leaders.
So the big selling point here is freedom of posting. You don't have to worry about the algorithmic landlord turning off the lights. It allows projects to gain real visibility through raw, organic community engagement rather than having to rely on paid influencers or trying to game some hidden algorithm.
It essentially bridges the financial utility of the tokens with the cultural fun of the memes. It's a dedicated hub for it all.
And this ties perfectly back to what we were talking about at the very beginning with the normie integration.
Oh, absolutely.
The whole vision here is that you can literally grab a bag of normie coffee right on the site, brew a fresh cup, log into MemeLinked, and just enjoy the Jimothy 2.0 memes on their platform.
It's a full ecosystem.
It really is. The source actually describes MemeLinked as an engine for, quote, trash tier, high-quality memes.
Which sounds like a total oxymoron. Trash tier, but high quality.
I know, it sounds like an insult to call something trash tier, but on the internet, it's actually the highest compliment.
Right.
It means the humor is low friction, it's fast, it's rough around the edges, it's hilarious image edits and viral short videos. It doesn't take a Hollywood production studio or a huge budget to make, it just takes a clever idea and maybe 5 minutes in Microsoft Paint.
And because MemeLink thrives on that exact kind of fast, low-friction humor, it serves as this incredibly fertile soil for tokens like Jimothy to just explode in virality.
So if I'm understanding the architecture here correctly, MemeLinked is essentially a decentralized digital comedy club where these raccoon memes can run completely wild without the Web 2 algorithmic bouncers constantly threatening to kick them out the back door.
That is a phenomenal analogy. And to take it a step further, MemeLinked leans heavily into this very specific narrative. They don't just host the memes. They have their own raccoon NFT collection embedded directly into the platform.
And for anyone who needs a quick refresher, an NFT, or non-fungible token, is basically a unique digital receipt proving you own a specific piece of digital art or data. So they have their own digital raccoons.
Exactly. And if you hold one of these digital raccoons, it gives you tangible utility on the platform. It gives you profile flair. It unlocks specific community status inside their ecosystem.
Oh, that's cool.
It effectively turns the raccoon from a simple mascot into an actual emblem of Web3 posting culture.
Okay, this has been an incredibly deep rabbit hole, or raccoon dumpster, I should say.
Certainly a dumpster.
Let's pull all of these threads together for the listener. We started with this dispatch from Normie Crypto, trying to educate everyday people with tangible items like coffee and mugs. We explored the civil war between Jimothy and Jimothy 2.0. We broke down the mechanics of the dual holding strategy to protect against liquidity rotations.
Yep.
And we looked at Meme-linked, providing the uncensored comedy club for the culture to thrive. Synthesize this for us. What is the ultimate takeaway?
The overarching lesson here is that in the crypto space, culture is the fundamental asset.
Culture is the asset.
Right. The dual holding strategy manages the financial chaos of a fast-moving narrative, yes. But it is the decentralized infrastructure platforms like MemeLink that actually turns a fleeting, temporary Telegram joke into a permanent, long-term ecosystem.
That makes total sense.
When a narrative exists only on a restrictive Web2 platform, it risks burning out the exact second the algorithm changes. But when a meme links up with a dedicated social infrastructure, and it's reinforced by a matching NFT culture and physical merchandise, it solidifies into something real. The bottom line from the source is simple. Don't fade the raccoon.
Don't fade the raccoon. I love it. It is truly amazing to think that this all starts with a low-friction joke, but the economic scaffolding built around that joke is just incredibly sophisticated. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with today.
Let's hear it.
So we talked at the beginning about how looking at the Solana network is like looking at a chaotic casino instead of a neat traditional spreadsheet. We see the sheer power of pricing attention.
Right.
But consider this. If Web3 platforms like MemeLink successfully prove that trash-tier memes and raccoon mascot NFTs can function as the foundational economic glue that keeps a social network thriving and profitable, how long until the mainstream traditional social media giants are forced to adopt their own native mascot economies just to keep us all engaged?
Man, that is the million-dollar question. It raises really profound implications for the future of how we interact and how we actually value our own attention online.
It really does. Because today, it's just a raccoon running wild in a decentralized comedy club. But tomorrow, your favorite orderly Web2 spreadsheet might just need a mascot of its own to survive the new attention economy. That is all for today's deep dive. We'll catch you next time.